Greetings, everyone. You're here with Aki Vermont, and yeah, I would want to just speak about finding the center. What does it mean, and how do we get there? So, finding the center is being able to consciously be aware of what's simply going on in and around you. In a given moment in time. You'll notice in many traditions, whether it be in the background of the martial systems or if it be in the background of what we would call the medicine systems, in the sense of qigong, xingzang, and things of that nature. So what we're speaking of and what we're referring to is one is in complete balance, at least in the physical sense of things, right? And it could be as simply as standing in balance. And let's take for example, in Shaolin and in different kung fu styles, karate, they find their center here. They understand, they train here, because what they're doing is saying that in order to practice this tradition, you have to be broad-legged, right? Or your strength has to be wide, right? In order to perform this. So the center is here, and then there it shows you, you're like, oh, I struggle to sit here, I struggle to sit there. Well, what it does then, it shows you the weakness. And it shows you in order to perform those exact things and movements that you just need to simply get stronger there. Or you have different styles, like into Wing Chun, which is more, it's not extraneous to the person, right? In the sense where when Wing Chun, you see most people, they find their center, their feet, let me step back just a moment, right? So they have the feet here, they open up there, and they come here, and generally what you have is, you have your heels about to the shoulder, right? Wide. And so that when you get to this position, what these positions do is they just evenly distribute the weight between both sides of the body. That is the most important thing that we're to learn here when you're talking about finding the center, right? And then, of course, you'll see in most traditions, they have their hands here representing the center as well, right? So that's why you'll see, I recommend to try and start here, because this is an easy way and an easier stance for a lot of people to just find the center. And so the goal of me showing you that, or even talking to you about finding the center, is because at that point, when your body is evenly distributing the weight, you can see where the compensations are happening within the body. That is my reasoning for telling you to find your center, right? That is a reasoning also for a lot of the traditions, because what it does is it mentally now makes you focus on certain areas of your own balance, right? So you'll notice for the people, who had injuries in the legs before, you'll notice at times when you're healing, you tend to overcompensate from one side to the other, right? Based on that injury. And what happens is that a lot of times we don't really truly fully strengthen it back, and so we don't really feel the actual lean to the left or right anymore, because we now have a natural compensation for it. And it isn't until we take a whole now like reassessment over time. Like, so if we reassess this thing constantly, what will happen is we will constantly give it more attention until it comes to a balance, right? So let's say if you're there in that position, as I just showed you, and you notice, hey, my front thigh here is more active there, then you say, okay, cool, I'm leaning more there. So maybe now as I stand in that balanced position, I need to lean more here. And you'll realize that that's actually where the natural balance is, because you're searching your body, where is that perfect position. So it's kind of like in many kung fu movies, or sometimes exaggerated themes, you'll see that these people are able to sit in these positions, no matter where it be, for very long lengths of time. And so your mind is like, yo, it takes a lot of strength in order to do that. Well, that's not always necessarily true that it takes a lot of strength, but what it does is it takes a lot of awareness to do that, because that means that I'm standing in a posture that is so balanced that it takes the least amount of strength to stand there, right? So That's exactly what's happening. So when you see a person who's perfected that actual sitting or the balance of being in that position, and then they can endure a longer time standing there, right? So it'll be like sometimes when you'll see guys who train and all they do is stand there, because what they're doing is they're perfecting their body balance in that position, to where they notice like, okay, I'm doing this. Or because when you're practicing a system, those systems move evenly and coordinate evenly without the body. So then you should be able to replicate each side of the body based upon the movement that is given, right? So I should be able to evenly punch on this side as I do on this side, right? Or I should be able to theoretically kick, right, on that side as well as I can do that side, because that displays the balance in the kung fu or the chi. Because what's happening is I have a greater relationship between the left and right when it comes in terms of balance, and that inner balance or that strengthening of balance is what helps keep our wellness together. Um, so that balance is what we do when we're calling finding the center. Where am I off that? Where am I? Because it's a it's a self assessment constantly when you're finding the center. It's a self assessment. It's not always an external assessment, but this assessment is good when we begin to approach ourselves in a manner in which we know what we're dealing with on a constant basis, so that we're constantly bringing a balance to it no matter what it is in life, right? So that's why, when we're coming here, I suggest people, when you're beginning into the arts, when you're beginning into the systems or styles, that you begin to find your center, because that helps you be able to understand what the mental work it takes in order to become balanced, right? All right. Um, so again, I recommend for you guys in finding a center, find what's comfortable for you, and I suggest the style of Wing Chun. As far as when it relates to finding your center, open this here, come there, and the heels are in alignment with the shoulder caps when we're here. And what we're doing now, we're just simply taking 10 deep breaths. But there's an emphasis at this point is to relax the neck from here and the shoulders down, to where you're constantly like you're just right? And we're not breathing in and out of the mouth either, even though you may hear that. We're breathing in and out of the nose, and we're using an 8 count if possible, right? But use one that you can rhythmically do, meaning that if you can't make an 8 up, 8 down with an inhale and exhalation, then don't worry about it. Do what you can do. If that's 5, 4, but make sure it's balanced the way it doesn't strain, because we're gonna try about 10 of these, right? So you'll come here as far as once you find your own center, right? And I start here because this is my resting position. But in terms of finding the center, I bring my hands here because it also gives me an understanding of what's going on in my shoulders for today before I get here, right? So I come here and I simply for the sake of the video, I'm not going to continue on, as far as going to 10 reps. But you guys understand what the goal is. And each time you exhale, what the true goal is you're like continuously relaxing the body. Yes. Right? Because we continuously want to flow. And what we're doing at that very moment, we're now is registering to our body which side we need to relax more, which side are we giving more strength to. And on that daily balance, it creates something within the body to actually bring yourself to balance when you're walking on a daily basis, because now you're consciously aware that maybe I have a limp that I don't pay attention to as much. Maybe I don't do this within my body so much, or maybe I have to compensate for my left or my right and I'm not actually paying attention to it and relaxing. And this also allows you to stress and the nervous system to have a reset on a daily basis, like, because you could do this before or after bed, and if there's a lot of details and a lot of research that we're gonna have here later on, and also we're gonna have 2 or 3 visitors that come up next week. I believe next week as well. That's gonna join us. One being Saba, right? Saba Walcott, who's the leader and founder of the Cloud Walker, and which I am a student of. So yeah, man, I give thanks to all of those who participated, who watched. I hope that this encourages you on a daily basis to find your center that helps you a more healthy and strengthened lifestyle. I'm out. The Birth Connect.